Conservatism is not Christianity, and it never will be. Let's stop pretending these two are distant cousins who just need better intercourse. Or for my less archaic listeners, dialogue. They don't even share a moral lane. Christianity begins with Jesus, a brown man, Middle Eastern brown, not black like me, not Caucasian, not quote-unquote Asian proper. I have to emphasize that because I have seen plenty of cults from my neck of the woods try to convince us otherwise. He was also a stateless, homeless man, born under occupation, executed by the state, and he said some very controversial things like, you cannot serve God and mammon, the poor are blessed, the rich are spiritually endangered, the meek inherit the earth, and your worst enemy deserves love. On the other hand, conservatism is grounded in property, hierarchy, territorial obsession, punishment, and nationalism, along with the deeply held belief that suffering is a personal failure rather than a systemic one. One says, sell what you have and give it to the poor. The other says, bootstrap harder. Clearly, these are opposing perspectives of what a human being is worth. Let's be very clear about something conservatives love to gloss over. Jesus never once warned about big government or explained how it works. Not once. All he said was, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. If you have any evidence to the contrary, put it in the comments. What he did warn about repeatedly was wealth, power, nationalism, and religious leaders causing up to the state. He called out hoarding, moral superiority, and people who use God to justify comfort while others suffer. In short, Jesus stayed out of politics. Conservatives, on the other hand, often put politics front and center, shaping and bending faith around their priorities instead of moral truth. Now, can a person be Christian and conservative? Sure. As I always say, humans are creatures of contradiction. We all pick and choose. But conservatism itself is not Christian theology. It's a political ideology that selectively borrows Christian language to baptize things Christianity explicitly warns against: greed, hierarchy, exclusion, fear, etc., etc. Faith in conservatism becomes very useful when it enforces obedience, rigid gender roles, nationalism, and patience in suffering. But the moment faith challenges wealth or power, it's suddenly symbolic, out of context, too radical, and my personal favorite, not realistic. Jesus is fine, but Christ the disruptor is not, because Christ doesn't respect order for the sake of it. He breaks Sabbath laws, he violates purity rules, he eats with the wrong people, he touches the untouchable, he centers women, foreigners, prostitutes, the poor, the sick, etc., etc. Jesus does not preserve systems or traditions. He challenges them in a very radical way, which is why conservative Christianity spends so much time shaving him down, turning a disruptive figure into a polite symbol for stability, borders, family values, and whatever else the conservatives believe. A Jesus who never costs you anything, doesn't threaten your wealth, and never questions why you're comfortable while others are not. That Jesus doesn't exist. And deep down, we all know it. That is why he is loved and hated in equal measure. Let me say conservatism needs Christianity more than Christianity needs conservatism, because Jesus of Nazareth, taken seriously, is a problem. He is a problem for ordinary Joes and Wanjikos like myself who like to wrestle with truth. He is also a problem for political figureheads, rulers, empires, moral gatekeepers, and for anyone who believes the status quo is just and the poor deserve their place in it. One more thing before I wrap this up. If you are tempted to think this critique spares progressive Christianity, don't. Any faith that begins with ideology and recruits Jesus after the fact is already lost. Conservatism wants a Christ who keeps things in line. Progressivism wants a Christ who makes everyone feel affirmed. Different instincts, same mistake. Repent or perish.